Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy, and in this video I want to share an experience that I've been having the last couple of days, and hopefully there's a message in it for you. So I've been having this kind of weird experience and I just had a realization about what this was this morning. So I've just been feeling like I don't really, let's see, how do I want to put this? I don't really want to do anything. And I don't mean that in like I'm feeling lazy or unmotivated. It's not that. I just had this realization that I don't really want or need anything to make me feel happy. And the way this came through was I noticed like the last few days, things that I normally do or want to do, I'm kind of like, I don't really feel like I need to do that. So one example is normally as I'm doing like housework, I put on a podcast or a YouTube video or something to listen to. And I just haven't felt like doing that. And that's not like me at all. And it's not from a apathetic kind of feeling way. I just feel like I don't need anything outside of myself. Like I don't want to take in anything external to me right now. Because I just don't feel like I need it. It's like I'm not looking or searching for anything. And I guess I never really thought about my behavior as maybe being driven by that before, whereas maybe, in the past I was listening to like taking in information and knowledge is something I've always loved to do. I have 6 placements in Sagittarius, so I'm like a big knowledge seeker, and I'm always like questioning things and I want to learn things, and I don't think any of that's going to change. This isn't like a permanent thing. I just know that. But I'm just having this like moment in time where I don't feel like I need or want any information, anything from outside of myself. And not only do I not want it, there's like no longing or desire for anything. It's extending to other things as well. And maybe that's not exactly right, like saying I don't want anything. It's like I'm good either way, like there's just no attachment. That's what it is. It's like there's no emotional attachment to things having to be a certain way in order for me to feel happy or satisfied. Maybe not even happy, but just satisfied and just good. And I'm just feeling like so much like peace and acceptance and just like the surrender and acceptance for everything being the way it is, and it's all good. And I kind of hesitated sharing this because I thought it might be a little bit triggering to hear, like 'cause I'm not trying to say like this is what we should be striving for. The message here is, and I had to sit with this for a while and talk to spirit and all of that and kind of get this, like the message, like why am I going through this at this time? And it's just having the experience. So I know that this is available to me at any time, and it's available to all of us at any time, that we can, tap into this place that's inside of us that's just peaceful and just is good with everything the way it is, exactly as it is. And you don't need anything, you don't want anything. And it's such a place of freedom. Really, it's like the true meaning of freedom to me is just not being attached to things having to be a certain way in order to feel joy and peace and happiness and love and all of that. So something else that happened this morning that tied in with this, I'm saying this was a spiritual experience. Okay, my husband would say there's no explanation for this. He's not into spiritual stuff at all, and his explanation, and I'm going to tell you the story in just a second, but he's like, I don't know, I don't have an explanation. Yeah. So I went into my kitchen and looked out the window, and right outside of my kitchen we have a screened in deck, and sitting on the chair that's out there, we have a table and chairs out there, and sitting on the back of one of the chairs was a bird, and it was a brown thrush. And I immediately thought, like, how did this bird get in there? And long story short, after I was able to set the bird free, my husband and I looked around the deck, like the screens on the deck, and we could not find a hole where this bird could have gotten in. And this is not a real small bird, like a tiny little finch or something. You know, it was a decent sized bird. And the door wasn't open to the deck. We have no idea how this bird got in there. Well, I don't believe in coincidences. And if there's no like physical explanation for something, I know it's spirit. So, and birds are extremely important to me in my communication with spirit. They often use birds. They were one of the very first signs that came through to me in like my first really big spiritual awakening. So birds have always been messengers for me. And so this brown thrush was there, and what I did was I went out on the deck and I propped open the door to the deck, the screened in portion of the deck, to let the bird out. And before he flew out, he flew over to where we have a sofa right next to the door, and he stopped and sat there, and he just looked right at me, and he said, I have a message for you. And then he flew away. And I just knew in that moment that the message I would get from him, it was going to be through looking up the meaning of the brown thrush. So I Googled the meaning of the brown thrush, and one of the meanings is that it signifies a call to a simpler, more genuine existence. And that comes through Henry David Thoreau's writings. So I'm going to mention what he said about the thrush in a minute. But this is tying in with this like knowing that I have about the new earth. And I mentioned this in my 3-Eye Atlas video, where I feel like even though we are going to be moving into a more technologically advanced time in the new earth, we're being called to actually bring with us like practices and ways of living that are more rooted in simpler times, like looking to ancient ways of living, where people lived more in like small communities, where they supported one another, and where people were, you know, close with nature, and where spirituality was a huge part of life, like those kinds of things. And this whole thing with me feeling like I don't want or need anything like in the material world, like these last few days, to be happy, I think was a message from spirit about not being so attached to the spirit, to the material world. And the thing is, the ideal now, or when we're talking about the new earth, is not to like transcend the human experience and become like this enlightened being who has no worldly desires. That is not the goal. And, you know, the benefit of enlightened masters being like examples for us to live by is not so we become like them, you know, and like live life with no, you know, experience of the material world, like sitting on a mountaintop and just meditating. And did you see it get really bright in here? I don't know what that's about. Anyway, that's not the goal of the human existence, because we come here to have a human material existence. we come here to experience all of the wonderful things, all the cool things we can make and do and have, and all of that is part of the human experience. It's just not being so attached to the material world and, seeing it more as just an experience that we want to have, that our soul came here and wanted to have. And there was something else I wanted to say about that. I don't know. I just lost it. I do this often. Okay. Yeah, it's just not being so connected to the material world, and like where we forget about the spiritual side of things, or just our connection with one another. And I wanted to mention what Thoreau said about the thrush. So he saw the thrush's song as an elixir bringing a new world, pure freedom and inner peace. And I just thought that tied in exactly with what I was experiencing, and the meaning of this bird bringing a message about getting back to simpler times, and that just being a big part of what we want to maybe think about as we are creating the new earth. It's really like marrying the technology side of things, the material side of things that aren't going to go away. Like, we're not going to be getting into this new earth experience and being spiritual beings only. We're still going to be in a physical form and experiencing the physical world very, very much. But it's just changing our story around it and not being so attached to needing things to be a certain way, and material things needing to provide peace and love and joy and meaning in our lives. It's kind of getting back to simpler things, providing meaning, especially relationships, and just supporting one another. We've gotten so far away from that. And maybe I'll share this now. I wasn't going to have this be a really long video, but after all of this today, I tuned in with the brown thrush because I felt like he still had a message for me, even though I wasn't like face to face with him. But usually if I connect with an animal, it's like in the moment and the animal is right there. And this animal wasn't there, but that's okay, because you can still connect with your intention. So this is kind of a separate message, but because it came through, I feel like I want to share it now, because it does sort of relate to this. But I tuned in and I just got something really simple, one line. And Spirit uses song lyrics in addition to birds. Again, it's kind of like that relationship between like birds and music and songs, and that's just like everybody has a different way of communicating with spirit, and I'm sure you do too. You might have your own unique ways, and another way that spirit communicates with me is through song lyrics. So I heard the line, "Don't give up until you drink from the silver cup." So that is a song lyric from, or a line from the song Lonely People that was sung by the band America in 1974. So I Googled that also. And the writer of the song said that he wrote that song as kind of an optimistic rebuttal to the Beatles' song Eleanor Rigby. And it was kind of like a more optimistic way of looking at the world, because the writer of the song, his name is Dan Peake, he considered the Eleanor Rigby song to be, and this is a quote, "an overwhelming picture of the masses of lost humanity drowning in gray oblivion." So I feel like this was a very important message because of kind of where the world seems to be at this time. I don't think it was a coincidence that the name of this band is America. I know there's many, many places in the world that would probably say they feel their country could be described in that same way. But I'm in America, and I could certainly say that a lot of people are feeling this way at this time in 2025, the end of 2025 in America. And so the name of the song, like I said, is Lonely People. And this writer also said that he wrote this because, and that line, because he said it's possible to drink from another's well of experience. So again, there's this like message about connecting to one another more and more. And this is going to be key in the new earth, but it's something that we're creating now, and we need to start being this way now and really connecting with one another in a way that we haven't before, like really looking out for our neighbors, literally and metaphorically, just those around us. Like it's time for like the small people to kind of take a bigger role and stop letting governments and just all the things that control us be the ones that dictate our lives. Like, we have so much more power than we realize. And, when people band together, they can create amazing, amazing things. Something else I thought was kind of interesting when I was researching this song is, so after he left the band, he went on like a solo career. And long story short, he rewrote part of that song, and he changed one of the lines to, and give your heart to Jesus Christ. So, I guess he was a Christian and, decided to make that into like a Christian message. And that's not what I'm trying to say here, but I just think it's very synchronistic to the fact that we've just come out of the solstice. Today's December 22nd, and Christ consciousness is flooding the planet right now. And I just posted a video a couple days ago all about for the solstice message, all about Christ consciousness flooding our planet right now. And that energy is the energy of 5D consciousness. And also, the other synchronicity was the album that song came out on was called Holiday, and it was released in December of 1974. So I just thought there were so many like neat synchronicities with this song, and that it just feels so pertinent to this message that came through today from the brown thrush and Henry David Thoreau, and yeah, just where we are with the solstice and this beautiful energy that's coming in. And religion aside, just the message about Christ consciousness being what we need so badly at this time is, I think, really the crux of the message, and just kind of tapping into that as much as we can individually, and then also letting that drive us forward collectively. So I'm going to take advantage of this little time period, and where I'm feeling kind of just at peace with not feeling like I need anything. And I know that this isn't a permanent like state of being, and that's okay. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, we're supposed to be in this human experience. But the beautiful thing about this is, anytime we want to, we can sort of disengage when we need to. When we start feeling overwhelmed with the real world, we can stop and remember that we don't have to take it so seriously. This experience we're having as humans. Remember that we are spiritual beings, just having this human experience. So I will leave this message here with you today. I hope there was something in here helpful for you. If there was, please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And please also like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you really soon. Thanks. Bye.